Sir, you've worked with students and universities across different geographies, and how is Pakistan perceived as an academic partner? And if we want to be taken more seriously by universities in Europe or Scandinavia or foreign universities, what do we need to do as a country at a university level?
Yeah, I would like to take it as an aspect of when it all started, the three little word called the TNE, transnational education. In Pakistan, way back in 1990s when it all started, it was a very new phenomena. Now, when you're talking about collaborations and you're talking about international linkages, there are now methods and strategies available that would allow Pakistani universities and international universities to collaborate. It has to, there are not lots of legal issues as well in it, including the Washington Accord issues where you talk about dual degrees. So you have to look at how many categories of transnational education are basically available, right? Starting from, a twinning arrangement where you do a part of the course in Pakistan or in some host country and then travel the rest of for the course. You could do the whole degree, which is known as franchising, and the other part of the technical name is the articulation agreement. All of this has now, come up because there are difficulties for people, and transnational education becomes important, and people who cannot travel and would like to have the opportunities of getting an international qualification in their home country. So looking at this, there are now full categories, particularly if you look at UK, there is now a British Council handbook available that allows you mobilization money for you to travel and go and talk to faculties, talk to people who are interested in collaborating, and then come back and see what suits the students in your country. People who would, actually the international education is all about international exposure. I believe that people go there, but the basic essence of collaboration is basically that those who cannot go out or those who would like to do part of the course in the country of a region are facilitated to get that international qualification sitting in Pakistan or maybe traveling for a lesser period than what it was actually assigned. So I think all these models are now available, and I have been instrumental in almost 40 of such collaborations. I did bring a number of universities to IBA as well, but I work very closely with NAST, LUMS, NUTAC, COMSET, where there are possibilities, and a new phenomenon that I've worked with the HSC is now called the split site PhD, where you could do 2 years here in Pakistan, do 1 year in anywhere, the UK that I'm confirmed of, saves your cost as compared to the indigenous scholarship that we used to talk about from the HSC, which is a 3-year, more difficult to get. So all these categories are now available and are a possibility to look at. But the important thing for both the university is the mapping of the course, trying to look at the mapping and what is best, both at undergraduate level, as postgraduate level, and even at postdoc level where research facilities are available. So those are the aspects that in Pakistan the universities are looking at collaboration will have to look at.
You're already in partnership with University of Turku, but if I were to ask you that if you were asked to co-create a Pakistan-Finland initiative, what would you focus on? Would it be joint research? Would it be public policy, labs, entrepreneurship, sustainability? And what do you think needs to be done in order to make that partnership future-ready and mutually beneficial?
I'll just come back to your question, just adding on to what esteemed colleague over here was saying. We really need to think about, broader questions also as to what are we trying to achieve with the partnerships? Of course, there are a lot of things that are available. I myself have a PhD, which was a split-site PhD. So, but what is it? What is the end goal, really? You know, and what is it that you're trying to do? And that ties up with our long-term developmental goals that you had, you know, touched up upon. For universities, I mean, it's very important to ask that question. What are the kind of opportunities that we are looking for, and who are the essential stakeholders that we are thinking about? Of course, partnerships can be very holistic, and you know, you've spoken about something that we can approach from many angles, but because I am housed in this Center for Entrepreneurship, I would, you know, just advocate for a partnership that works around entrepreneurship and perhaps policy, a lab or a or a research hub that grounds research which can draw on lived experiences of people and benefits both of the faculty of you know, Finnish universities and its students, and creates opportunities for Pakistani faculty and students as well, and creates kind of an exchange between them where, you know, allows traveling and exposure to each one's resources. I think that grounded in our systems will create a lot of opportunities to address larger issues such as youth employment, climate adaptation, inclusive economic development. So, you know, I think initiatives such as these need to be really thought of, and there is a lot to gain for both partners.